Hello, everyone, and welcome to Business Management 325 International Management. I appreciate everyone taking time off in the summer to do this course, and over the next 7 weeks, we're going to take a deep dive into various aspects of global business, global economics, and global management, as well as global politics. I'd like to start by saying that this is a particularly interesting time to be studying this topic. I've been teaching this and similar courses for many years, and I always like to start by saying that the way the world looks at the beginning of a course may be radically different from the way that it looks at the end of the course. And with all of the events that have surrounded COVID, not just in the United States, but around the world, this has been more true, I think, than ever. We're at a pivotal time, and one theme that I think that I'd like to start with is that global business is not dead. But it's certainly in transition. The way people are thinking about supply chains, about relationships, about how to do business, about how to meet, they've all been radically altered and sort of accelerated, I think, on this process of globalization that's been going on for many years. So over the next 7 weeks, we're going to you can please read the syllabus, right, which will give you a good overview. But I think there's sort of three huge takeaways that I would like you guys to get out of this course. The first is an overview of sort of some of the structural ideas in global business and global economics, things around political economy, around culture, around supply chains, around finance, around technology, and other big issues. And trade. That's some of the sort of the meat and potatoes of international business. And the textbook that we use, it's an excellent textbook, and I think it's a really good way to give you an overview. So that's going to be part of what you're doing. The next part is we focus very strongly on current events, which really look at the up to date, to the minute impacts of everything that's happening in the world on global business and economics and management. So that's something you're going to have a lot of freedom in terms of what you want to look at. You're going to be able to pick your own events. It allows you to explore different industries, different topics, different areas. As long as it's global, it's good. And I think with COVID happening last semester, this was radically altered. Even I just finished teaching another section of this course, and COVID was just starting at the beginning, and it was in full swing by the end. So hopefully, I think we're a little bit coming out of that period, and I think what's next is interesting. And then finally, you're all going to be working on a group project in which you want to look at an issue that a firm is facing in a foreign market, and you're going to give a recommendation based analysis of what is the problem, what are the solutions, and what's the implementation. So, really thinking then about how to use this stuff with the topic that you like. And I will allow you guys to start thinking about your groups, and I'm happy to advise you on that starting next week. So, a little bit about myself. I have a PhD in public administration and public policy with a strong focus on behavioral economics from Boise State. I have a master's degree in international political economy from the University of Chicago, in which I focus largely on Japan and China and how the US relates to those economies and those political systems. And my undergraduate was in English literature and philosophy. So I've sort of done the whole gamut. I've also worked quite a bit in business and government in the past. I moved to China in 1994 when it was just starting to open again to the West. Learned Chinese, worked for one of the very first venture capital firms in China. Then I worked for the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the U.S. Consulate at the Agricultural Trade Office. So selling lots of soybeans and potatoes and French fries and all sorts of good stuff. It's a huge market for us. And then after that, I worked for McKinsey, the consulting firm, also in China. So advising both American and European, as well as Chinese companies on their top level strategy, working a lot with their CEOs and their executive teams to think about how to solve problems. And then after that, I represented the state of Missouri for business development in Japan and learned Japanese as well as Chinese before that, and worked with lots of companies, everyone from Anheuser-Busch to Monsanto to Hallmark to some small companies. So that was another great experience. I got to work with a lot of great management teams, and I'm still in touch with a lot of these people from the past, and we still continue to advise each other. After that, I helped New York University to found the Stern School of Business in Shanghai, and I did that for a number of years. And then started to have a family and decided I wanted to start heading back to the United States. Worked in Hong Kong at City University of Hong Kong, advising their dean on how to grow globally as well as teaching and researching there. And then about 5 years ago, came here to beautiful Boise, and where our second son was born. So I've been here for a while now. In terms of how I love Idaho. I'm a big outdoor guy. I love climbing, cycling, skiing, hiking, swimming. So the outdoors is great, and our whole family is very oriented towards this. And I think Boise is a great city. We're actually in a pretty good position, I think, to come out of this COVID compared to places like New York or London in a lot of ways. So that's a little bit about me. So in week one, sort of your main task is going to be to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what international experience you have or what aspirations you have. So we all get to know each other as a class before we start to really take a deep dive. And we'll also look at political economy, which, as I said, was what I studied at University of Chicago for my master's degree. And I always like to say that you should pay attention because in that sentence, politics comes before economics. So that in some way shapes the way that things are being played out. And I think you see this in a huge way with many, many issues such as US China relations, US European relations, even domestic economics and policy in this country. So, and then we'll start getting into other topics. So I really look forward to working with all of you this summer, and I look forward to seeing your intros on week one. So welcome to the class, and let's have a great summer. Thanks.